Sure is.
But they will. They will, and we're not gonna tolerate second guessing. That's what our rules say.
Couldn't give you everything you want.
Yes, thank you.
That's good.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Copy this or not. You have one of these? Yes. Okay. Bob, how you doing today?
Doing good today.
How's the eating going?
It's going,
Is today steak day?
Sunday.
Oh,
Or maybe it was, I can't remember.
This is all blurred, that's all it is.
It's already going. Thank you. I guess it ain't.
I'm trying to content you in cooking today.
That's. Well, I'm just trying to look for days good adventures.
John, you ready? I'm ready. Okay, we'll go ahead and you go to order then. Have you recorded one already? Okay. Okay. Do we need to call in for these two, or are they already called in? Okay, so I'll just figure you're gonna take care of that, or part of one or the other? No, I need to make sure that they're online and all.
So they're muted on their ends, so we're gonna keep them muted all the time. And so when they speak, they'll unmute on their.
Okay, so they're good now?
They're good now.
Okay, cool.
Yes, that's Kevin Graham, and that's Commissioner Thompson down there.
Gotcha, thank you. I'd like to call this meeting, the Clay County Commission, to order. To start, we will begin with an invocation. Mr. Treasurer, if you would please lead us in an invocation.
Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, send down upon those who hold office in Clay County the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Nolte,
Here.
Commissioner Carpenter,
Here.
Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
Great, the technology works. Always good. Before we get started, I want to mention to everyone here that we do have members of the public here to speak. Our meetings are now obviously within the COVID-19 regulations and protocols. We are allowing to have the public present at these meetings. I also want to mention the fact that these meetings are live streamed and that anyone who wants to review any of these meetings, if they go to claycountymode.gov, you can find a link that will take you to our archives, and you can review any of these meetings that have been live streamed, and there's a good number of them right now. So we are trying our best, even with the limitations we are under, to make sure that we are in fact able to have as much public input and transparency as possible. The other thing that I want to mention is we are doing audio recordings, so when, particularly if you're a member of the public, if you come up to make a comment, please make sure and identify yourself. The podium is over there that you would be speaking from. There is a small handheld mic. Red is off, green is on, so make sure that you turn it on so that we can all hear any comments that any members of the public would like to share with us. That being said, is there a motion for the approval of today's agenda?
I'll move that we approve the agenda.
Motion has been made for approval of the agenda. Discussion. Are there any additions, deletions, or any other alterations to our to our agenda as published? Seeing none, Commissioner Thompson, did you have anything before we go to close?
I do not. Thank you, Commissioner Nolte.
Thank you. Very well. Commissioner Carpenter, it's yours to close.
I close.
Please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
The issue passes. One other point that I neglected to make, and I'm making this announcement pretty much through this first month of our commission, maybe a little longer, and that is, under our new constitution, which took effect on January 1st, the presiding commissioner votes only under specific circumstances. Chief among those is a tie vote. So if you see me not voting, that's because of the provisions of the Constitution, our new form of government. It's not any reluctance of, it's not either lack of support or expression of support. It's just that I don't have that particular duty at this moment. So with that, honorary resolutions, there are none. That brings us to public hearings. First on public hearings, actually the only item on public hearings is the 2021 proposed budget. We have, obviously at this time of year, we propose our budget for the current year as it turns out right now. So this is for the year 2021. Our budget year is in fact the calendar year. And we have, besides the people here in front of you, we also have at the other table our budget team headed up by Steve Sirks, former captain of the Sheriff's Department. So that way, I believe that if there are any questions or comments by the public, we will be able to address those as fully as possible. With that, we will open the public hearings. Are there any persons here who would like to comment? Please come up to the podium. If there starts to be a line, just kind of socially distance and kind of line yourselves up a bit. As I said, please state your name. Also, be sure and push green on the microphone and use that. So if you would like to proceed, please go right ahead.
Good morning, Commissioners. David Slater, Pleasant Valley, Missouri. I'm representing the Clay County.
Could you talk a little bit more into the microphone?
Is that better?
Is it green?
Yeah.
No?
I did listen to you.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and try that one just to make sure.
Okay, very good.
Go
So
right ahead.
I'm representing the Clay County EDC, and I apologize for not being here last week, but I had a good excuse. We are, it's good to be back working with the county government. For a while there was a rift, and we want to fix that. And we, for 40 years I worked south of the river, mostly in banking. And I took a cut in pay to come up here to work with the CDC because I just see the potential of this county. And we would love to have your support, which also would include some budget money. Our biggest accomplishment in the EDC, if you go back and look at all of our history, it has a lot to do with your presiding commissioner, our presiding commissioner, and that was keeping the floor plane here because it's not just the 7,500 jobs here, but each of those jobs has 5 or 6 other jobs. And this county and my economy in Pleasant Valley would just been clobbered if that industry moved someplace. And the EDC's job is to balance with fair taxes what goes on with the schools, businesses, and the residential area. And we want to create jobs so people don't be like me and have to go south of the river to get them. And so we've got some goals. First of all, we want to get you all involved. For a while, the commission was put on the back burner. That's not going to happen anymore, not when I'm up there. We had our annual meeting and we introduced our new associate commissioners. We have a board meeting quarterly that the associate commissioners will be at. Monthly with the executive board, the presiding commissioner comes to. We want to have that state of the county luncheon that we've had in the past so the commissioners can tell us what's going on out there. We also want to have committee meetings that we can maybe focus not just on the county, but on municipalities and the state government too. But we just want to make sure that people have the chance to meet their commissioners and see what's going on outside this building. We have what's called a Big Four, and the first one is 50 new companies with 5,000 new jobs. And we're not just talking about Burger Kings, we're talking about targeted industries like healthcare, animal science, advanced manufacturing, And to me, I'm not going to count it being a job unless you're making $35,000 a year, because you can't make a house payment if you make less than that. The second one is MU Academic Center of Excellence that we're partnering with Liberty, MU's partner with Liberty Hospital. And the whole thought process on this is, why do we go to KU Med Center instead of an MU Med Center, and why not in Clay County? And that's the genesis of that. We want to make sure that we have the go-to hospital in the metro, and not just on the Missouri side, but the metro. And it would be right here in Clay County. And we're working towards that. The KC Tech Academy, we want to be the most efficient, advanced manufacturing skilled trade solution in the nation. And we want to develop our workforce so that the residents can have jobs that they have a passion for. I mean, college isn't for everybody, but a high-paying, good skilled job is, and we just have to get those folks trained. That's why we had the Tech Academy. The last of our big four is the 587, and that's the intersection of 152 and 435. And since you're in the budgeting, you can probably add those up and get the 587 out of that. But how many times do you go south of the river or cross the state line to do an anemone that we don't have in Clay County? And that's the genesis of the 587. We want to make sure that we have a draw. People drive up 435 from Blue Springs, Independence, Eastern Jack, a lot of places, and they pass right through the intersection and see nothing but open fields. And we want that to be a destination spot for Clay County, and that people won't have to cross those barriers to come here. And people from south of the river and from Kansas will come to Clay County because we got some anemone. And we're right in the middle of a study with Olson Associates. And that's our ask. A big chunk of our ask is to help fund that. And it's a $70,000 cost share that's already been put in from Kansas City. And that will cover the first 4 phases, which will come up to about $78,000. But the last phase is $30,000 to $60,000. And I like doing things right. And if we can get that, if we can get the money, I'd be glad to show you where it gets all spent. But we want to make sure that we get this feasibility study done right, and we get our input from the commission, input from the citizens. And that's basically what we're up here for. I know you put a placeholder in for $100,000, and $78,000 of that would go towards this 587 project. And we would do other studies too. We want to get, Commissioner Nolte and I, we're involved with the Mid-America Regional Council and Total Transportation Policy Committee. And we want to get Clay County on board so that when funding becomes available for highways and infrastructure, we're there, we've got our projects lined up. And it's not just the two of us sitting here, it's a commission, it's the people involved at MARC from our various cities. And we want to get that input, but we need to sit together in a room and coordinate that. And some of those studies are going to cost some money too. And so that's what we would use the other $30,000 for mostly. Our biggest, one of the things we hang our hat on is Northland Education and Business Alliance. And that's where we partner with our Clay County schools. And we do this with Platte County also. But we had a virtual career fair, and we were hoping for 500 kids to sign up for it. We had over 2,500 kids sign up to look at 24 different lines of business. And what that does is it prepares these kids, gives them dreams for our workforce. And it was so well done that Governor Parson heard about it, and he did an introduction. And he also agreed to come meet and present at the NEBA meeting March 2nd. And that's going to be at our KC Tech Academy building, the temporary building in Pleasant Valley. So if the commission would like to be on hand, that'd be great. But the governor likes what we're doing enough that he's going to take time out of his day to come visit us and see what's going on. And again, I talked about the big four, but that's a rolling document. So when something gets completed, we'll put another item up there. It could be 92 highway going through the north part of Clay County. It could be, something that we get out of a study done by you all, or an idea from me. But that's, I would hope that you could put that money into our budget, because we will use it wisely, and I can give you a quarterly update or let you know where we're at. And you all have my cell phone number anyway, so call me at any time. Any
Thank you,
questions
Mr.
or?
Thank you, Mr. Slater. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
One of the things that, in my own personal history, was working with the EDC when I was a legislator on the Manufacturing Jobs Act, which was, I think, instrumental in retaining that Ford plant and for the expansion of it. My signature was on that bill, and the second signature on that bill is our treasurer, Bob Nance.
Nice.
So Bob was right there in that fight. I hesitate to think of what kind of a budget we would be looking at if we didn't have that economic driver of the Ford plant and the supplier chain that we have here in Clay County. So I think the EDC has proved its worth, and I think you've outlined some areas to where EDC will continue to more than pull its weight as far as Clay County goes. And I think the idea of having partners like that with the county, like EDC, is a very, very positive thing. So thank you. Any comments from the other commissioners? Commissioner Thompson?
Thank you, Commissioner. I want to thank you, Mr. Slater, for coming in today and all your great work that you do within our community. I'm going to keep it pretty short and brief with that. And but thank you for coming in today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any
Oh,
other?
I did want to introduce two of my executive board members, besides Commissioner Nolte, is Tony Reinhardt and Kirk Davis. So Kirk's a former Gladstone city manager, and Tony's with the Ford Motor Company.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
By the way, something that I do want to make sure everyone realizes is what right now we are taking comment and testimony on the proposed budget. Anyone here who has comments on anything not on our agenda, there is now a place on there where the public can comment. So I just want to make sure nobody feels as though this is their one and only shot at making comments. So with that, are there any other citizens who would like to come forward and make any comments on the proposed 2021 budget?
Good morning. My name is Jim Oldebecken. Commissioners, I just want to mention in regards to the budget for the upcoming year that this is a historic and incredible time for our county to advance. And I encourage the commissioners to take a close look at the budget for the clerk's office. This is the first government function of government. And it's so essential for building government trust and accountability. And I know there have been many changes going on, but I hope it's adequately staffed to carry on all the responsibilities with a little room to spare. Secondly, I'm aware that the Attorney General's office has an educational program on the Missouri Sunshine Law, which I don't think it would cost any money, but it might take some time as far as implementing and staff time. But those individuals that have responsibility for government records and providing them under the Sunshine Law might benefit from an update on that training. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Do you have any follow-up? Okay. Are there any other citizens or persons wishing to either comment or pose any questions related to the 2021 proposed budget for Clay County? Are there any other persons who would like to comment on the proposed budget? Are there any other persons who would like to comment on the proposed budget? Seeing none, the public hearing on the proposed budget is now closed. Thank you very much. That brings us to commission sessions. The first issue we have is item 2113, appointment of Clay County Clerk as custodian of records, and that was forwarded by the commission. Is there a motion related to 2021-13?
Commissioner Thompson?
Commissioner Thompson, did you want to make
thought you
that
might want to.
motion on 2113?
Yes, Commissioner, I'm sorry. I'm just having a small issue of hearing you guys clearly.
Oh, sorry.
I apologize for not being able to be there in person today with my little one under the weather. But I will make the motion to approve 2021-13.
Motion has been made on 2021-13 discussion. And by the way, thank you, Commissioner Thompson, for bringing that up. I just want to remind everybody that between the technology and the fact that we're all wearing masks, please try your best to speak as clearly and loudly as possible so everyone can hear your comments. With that discussion on 2021-13, Commissioner Carpenter.
So absolutely support 2021-13. This returns the Clay County Clerk to its traditional role as custodian of records. I think it makes a lot of sense. I have absolute faith in our clerk's office to do the work and also, I think it's going to save us a lot of money in the long run, so I think it's the right move. I'll be supporting it.
I certainly agree with everything that Commissioner Carpenter just said. I think it was inappropriately taken from the county clerk's office some years ago, and I think it's high time that we returned it to its traditional and rightful place to put that responsibility on the county clerk's office. I also agree with Commissioner Carpenter in his assessment that it will be able to realize some cost savings to the county. We are going to be going forward working on a lot of elimination of duplication of efforts. I think we're going to be able to realize some savings in that line. This also is going to be a more streamlined, the process that we had gone through previously regarding sunshine requests and other responsibilities of the custodian of records, I think were unnecessarily cumbersome and expensive. My understanding is the clerk's office has already processed, we'll be able to process these in a way that will be much more efficient and able to go forward. And in fact, in the absence of that office being taken by the administration, the clerk's office has already started doing some of that. And if I understand correctly, they've been processing requests by citizens for information with a tremendously lower cost and much greater efficiency. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes, I just wanted to say, I wanted to thank the commissioners for adding the comments back into the agenda, and this alone is an important step for transparency in our county. With that statement, I wanted to update the commission when we was talking about sunshine requests. The clerk's office in the last week has received 14 requests, and those 14 requests have already been responded to and are now closed. The best part is the cost to the county was nothing. We had $0 cost.
Could you, if the clerk could please relate to us how citizens can access it? There is a form online which they can fill out?
Yes, there is a form online. You can go online and download it. You can also send an email. You can call. We really prefer you to put it in writing, and we would like for you to use the form. However, that isn't, that will not keep you from getting your request answered if you just send us an email.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that we're going to see a lot better results, and certainly we do encourage all citizens to be involved in this county government. The first step towards that involvement is getting information to citizens, so we're hoping that this, combined with our transparency measures that are being put into place and will continue to be put into place, will create a much more open atmosphere and a much more inclusive atmosphere for those who would like to make comment. Commissioner Thompson, I believe that was your motion, so if you would like to make any more comments and close, please proceed.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think we pretty much summed it up. I think it's pretty safe to say that I think it's appropriate to put custodian of records back in the appropriate department, and that would be the clerk's office, and we can continue our cost-saving measures for the county. And I close with that.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I should have asked if there are any comments from the public. I kind of breezed by that, certainly. Is there any comments from the public? I see none. With that, please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
The issue passes. That brings us to 2021-14, approved quotes for services, National Construction Rentals Incorporated, that is from County Council. Mr. Counselor, if you would like to proceed.
Yes, Commissioner. Can you hear me okay?
I think so. Can everybody in the group? Yeah, I'm getting head nods in the room, so yes, you're good.
Very good. Thank you, Commission, for taking this up. This is dealing with the fencing that currently exists around the annex. The current fencing that is there will be removed on this Friday if we don't extend this agreement. So I believe what you have in front of you is a 6-month extension, and it's with the current fence provider. It's substantially cheaper than any other provider because they already have their fencing there. So would request approval of 2021-14.
Is there a motion related to 2021-14?
I'll move that we pass 2021-14.
Motion has been made for the approval of 2021-14. Discussion. Just for clarification, can you not, who can you not hear?
What are we extending at the annex? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to kind of get a little explanation of that because I think we need a little bit more. Your question was made by a member of the, here at the meeting that they want a little clarification. So I'm going to try to provide some of that. Mr. Counselors, if I am off track, please feel free to chime in and let me know. What we're talking about is the site of the proposed new annex. Right now, there is fencing around the perimeter of the property. What this would do is, while we are pausing progress on that, pending evaluation of the commission, the fencing needs to stay up for a number of reasons, not the least of which is that it will provide us some liability protection in case someone enters the property, either through vandalism or through injury. It's a way for the county to help to protect it from a legal problem while this project is under review by the commission. With that, are there any, and I neglected it in the last one until towards the last minute, certainly anybody from the public who would like to ask any questions or comments, please feel free to approach the podium, and as I see you, I will recognize you. With that, Mr. Counselor, did I explain that adequately? Is there anything I missed?
No, Commissioner, that's exactly right. So the primary issue is to make sure that the property remains safe. There is an excavated pit there, my understanding, of approximately 12 feet deep, and we need to make sure that there's fencing around it to keep the property safe and to keep any citizens who might wander onto the property and keep them safe as well.
Very well. Thank you very much. I don't see any comment from the public. Commissioner Thompson, did you have anything you'd like to add or any questions you'd like to pose?
I do not, Commissioner, thank you.
With that, Commissioner Carpenter, if you have any comments, you feel free to make those and then close when you're prepared.
No, I think, this is a necessary step and relatively reasonable and small cost to the county and something we got to do. So I'll be voting yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, if there are no other comments or questions, please call the roll.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes?
That concludes commission sessions. That brings us to discussion items. There are none listed. We have comments on agenda items. We have 4 categories. I'm going to go through and ask each one individually. This section is on agenda items, meaning what we've already brought up. In a moment, we will go to non-agenda items. So are there any comments on agenda items that appeared on today's agenda from the public? Please approach the podium and I'll recognize you. Now, this is on what we've talked about today. If you have something that you would like to comment on that was not on today's agenda, that turn will be coming up in a few moments. Please remember to identify yourself and make sure that the button is green.
My name is Jim Oldebecken. First, I want to say thank you and congratulations to each of our commissioners and other office holders for your distinguished path to public service, which brings you to leading our county at a very historic and pivotal time. I wish to make a couple brief comments regarding oaths of office and their relationship to the business of the commissioners, and in particular minutes of the January 4th meeting.
Excuse me, but
Yes.
I think you're more appropriately placed in the non-agenda items. I realize it's a little bit confusing, but I'd be happy to recognize you because those are what you're talking about does not relate to these specific items, but I will come to you in a few moments, so just kind of hang loose there for a moment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'm looking for public comments on agenda items. Those are the items that are on today's agenda. Are there any commissioner comments on agenda items? Commissioner Thompson, I assume you do not, or you would have mentioned it? I'll come back to her if she does have something. Office holder comments on agenda items. Are there any office holders who would like to comment on items on today's agenda?
Yes, Victor Hurlbert, Clay County Auditor. I just want to ask a question of clarification as far as the budget recommended adjustments. We as budget team is just looking for some clarification. Are we going to discuss those in detail tomorrow and take the votes at the same time, or would you like to do that today as a commission and then, address any clarifications we need and then vote tomorrow? We're just seeking a little clarification on that.
Okay, yes. I'm not sure everybody heard you. I'll repeat your question. Let me know if I've done it inaccurately. Auditor Hurlbert would like to know if we were going to be discussing the 2021 budget in detail today. The answer is we have on today's agenda the proposed budget for public hearings. So the discussion would be pretty much around whatever comments from the public and questions they might have. Now that we are on comments on agenda items, it would also be in order if somebody wanted to come and ask a more detailed question on budget. That being said, tomorrow's meeting, which would be, and I don't think I neglected to mention that, which will be tomorrow at 1 o'clock, we will be going through the budget in detail. There will be a number of yes, no votes that would be alterations to that budget. So at that point, we will be digging in. That's probably our deepest dive that we'll be taking on the budget, is that particular yes, no, series of yes, no votes, which there'll be 30-some of those that we'll be taking. Once again, that will be live streamed. It will be open to the public if they would like to attend. And certainly we want to make sure we're as transparent as possible. And of course, public comment would be in order on each one of those individual decision items and on the broader agenda at the appropriate time, or broader budget at the appropriate time. So yeah, does that clarify what you were asking?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. And by the way, we do appreciate the budget team being here. While we didn't get too deep into it, it's good that you guys were here, you guys and gals were here, to make sure that if a citizen had a specific detailed question, that question could be addressed, at the immediate time. Are there any other office holder comments on agenda items? Are there any agency comments on agenda items? Commissioner Thompson, I didn't hear back from you. You might not have been able to get on there, but did you have any comments on agenda items?
I do not. Thank you, Commissioner.
Very well. And then I'll go back, as is my habit, and repeat to make sure that there are no public comments on agenda items. Seeing none, that concludes comments on agenda items. That moves us to our next issue, which is comments on non-agenda items. That would be any comments on any items that were not on today's agenda. And we will start with public comments on today's agenda. And I believe the gentleman who just spoke previously, this would be the appropriate point for him to make his thoughts known. Please proceed.
Thank you. I'm still Jim Oldebecken. I wish to make a comment in relation to oaths of office as they pertain to the minutes of the January 4th meeting. The Missouri Constitution reads, Article 7, Section 2, oaths of office. Before taking office, all civil and military officers of the state shall take and subscribe an oath or information to support the Constitution of the United States and of this state, and to demean themselves faithfully in office. The word subscribe, according to Webster's, to write one's name underneath, to sign one's own hand. That provision is mirrored in Missouri law. It's also subject to federal law, Article 6, regarding oaths of office in the Constitution of the United States, as well as the first law ever passed in federal government, the Senate bill for oaths of office. The function of, apparently it's a twofold thing, taking the oath and subscribing it, signing it. I did ask for the oaths of office executed as one of those 14 sunshine requests of the clerk's office, which I received in a very timely fashion. Most of them were executed before the first day of January. 2 were not. One appointed individual who was appointed on the 4th of January for employment, and then another elected official. I think it's possible that an argument can be made that perhaps we were not ready to have that meeting on the 4th, and we should look at whether or not we are able to approve those minutes in as much as one individual who voted had not subscribed their oath. I'm not an attorney, but that's just the way, the best that I can understand this. And just finally, I think oaths are significant. I think we should look at whether it's ceremony or cornerstone. Right now, in our nation's capital, we have a situation that has amazed us, and oaths will be taken today. I know this citizen hopes that it's more than ceremony. This is really just a situation which, well, I think it's an opportunity for the council to make a statement about going forward. And I hope you'll consider the matter of the minutes and whether they can be approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Any questions from the commission? Commissioner Thompson, did you have any questions you'd like to pose?
I do not. Thank you, Commissioner.
Very well. Thank you for your comments. Are there any other public comments on non-agenda items? Seeing none, are there any commissioner comments on non-agenda items? Hearing none. Are there any office holder comments? Aha, I see an individual making their way to the podium. Please proceed when you are ready.
Kathy Reinhardt, Clay County Assessor. I just wish to say that since we have a new regime, it's amazing how the offices can now talk to one another and not be in fear of retaliation. And it's a new day. Everybody's feeling better, and I want to thank everybody for that. Ms. Holterman is my office manager, and she tells me that it's nice to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, I need so-and-so and such and such, and within a day, day and a half, it's done. Instead of, well, you've got to jump through this hoop and you've got to beg this person. It's delightful, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I think that is something that we as a commission, I don't necessarily want to speak for the other commissioners, but I have every confidence that they feel the same way, and that is the more open, transparent, and ability to work together aspect that we are trying to bring to county government is something that's a high priority.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the comments. You know, I wasn't here like you all, but like both of you were. That being said, as an outsider looking in, shared a lot of the concerns that were just shared, and I think we are making a lot of progress. Very excited to be part of it with you and Commissioner Thompson, and look forward to working with the other office holders, and then also just anybody here in Clay County who wants to move us in the right direction. So, thanks.
Commissioner Thompson, do you have anything to add?
No, I would just kind of second with you guys. I think we're all moving in a good, positive direction, and I think it really is a new day for Clay County, and I look forward to working with everybody moving forward.
I want to say thank you to the assessor for those kind words. We appreciate that. Are there any other office holder comments on non-agenda items? Seeing none. Are there any agency comments on non-agenda items? Seeing none, I will go back to, I will return just to make sure that there are no public comments, no further comments on non-agenda items. Seeing none. Before we go forward with approval of the minutes, I alluded to it before, but I do want to make sure I inadvertently skipped over meeting schedule, and I just want to repeat that we do have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, 1 p.m. That is going to be largely to do with budget, up and down votes for individual alterations to our budget. So certainly the public is welcome here in the room, obviously using the COVID-19 protocols as our limitations. Certainly it will be live streamed, so any comments or input from the public would certainly be appreciated as we go through that process. That brings us to approval of the minutes of previous sessions. We have 3 listed today. Is there a motion related to the approval of minutes of previous sessions? Commissioner Thompson, would you like to make that motion? It's kind of your turn.
Sorry, Commissioner, you were cutting out a little bit, but no, I will make the motion to approve the 3 sets of minutes today.
And you are referring to the January 4, 1 p.m., January 7, 5:30 p.m., and January 7, 7 p.m. meetings. Is that correct?
That is, thank you, yeah.
Very well. Motion has been made for the approval of the minutes of January 4, 2021, 1 p.m., January 7, 2021, 5:30 p.m., January 7, 2021, 7 p.m. Discussion? What I like to do in these instances is to allow a moment for any additional review by commissioners on these minutes. These have been, for the information of those watching, these minutes have been distributed to commissioners prior to this meeting so that commissioners have had a chance to review them. Didn't want anybody to think we were just sort of taking them up and voting them willy-nilly. With that, is there any discussion?
Just as a point of clarification,
Yes.
will we be doing this as one vote or as 3 separate votes?
We actually can do it, we've done it historically either way. The motion on the floor is for all 3 of the sets of minutes for those 3 meetings.
Okay. Thank you.
If all commissioners have had a chance to do any additional review, then we will, I will go to Commissioner Thompson to close, and then we will go to the vote.
I close.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes?
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Written reports. Are there any written reports to be submitted to the commission?
None today. Thank you.
There are none from the clerk's office. Do any other departments have any reports to submit? Seeing none. That brings us to executive sessions. We are under our agenda. We are noticed up for legal, which is Missouri Statute 610.021 sub 1, and contractual, which is Missouri Statute 610.021 sub 12. I have gotten a summary, an idea of what we will be discussing from council. In my opinion, they are compliant and appropriate under Missouri Sunshine Law. With that, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session and to adjourn therefrom.
So moved.
Motion has been made to go into executive session under legal and contractual and to adjourn therefrom. Discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Commissioner Carpenter?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson?
Yes?
We will now adjourn into executive session and adjourn therefrom. This ends the public portion of our meeting. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you folks tomorrow, 1 p.m. for our next meeting.